Good news, everyone. They finally found the In-N-Out Bandit. Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore. I hope you're having a good day today. I mean, look, we're surviving 2020, and you're watching this or listening to this, and there are, some really good films that are coming out in spite of the fact that Hollywood has moved a bulk of its schedule to next year. There are a plethora of great films to check out, and I want to talk to you today about The Honest Thief, and director Mark Williams is here to tell us about it. Mark, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Well, this movie, first of all, who's not a fan of Liam Neeson, right? I mean,
I would agree.
He's so, I guess that's my first question is how you snagged Liam Neeson to be in this.
I think I just got lucky. I hit him at a certain time where I sent him the script. He responded to it. He really related to the character and the heart of the story, really being, more than just what people expect of him as far as an action star. I mean, there's obviously a big love story going on throughout the movie that he connected with, and he felt it was a nice turn for him above and beyond what you expect to see from his movies.
But I guess, a lot of people may compare this to Taken, maybe some things, but this is a very different character than the Taken films. I think he's filled with remorse, and there are definitely different layers to this. Do you think that's what attracted him to the role?
For sure. I mean, I think the reality is, in the Taken, and by the way, any comparison to Taken is a wonderful compliment. So I'll take that from anybody that wants to hand that out. But the reality is, this character focuses more on the gray of life and the gray of characters. And in Taken, he's a good guy all the way through. He's the hero, and he's doing good by his people. And in this scenario, he's actually starting out as a bit of a bad guy, and he's trying to come back from that. And that's really the theme of the movie is redemption and second chances in life. And I think we all are a little black, a little bit white, and somewhere in the middle. And your T-shirt is a good example of the color that we all are. And I'm sorry you were rejected, but the color is, as far as gray goes, is really a lot of people in this world, and including his character.
And another great Liam Neeson movie, The Gray, directed by Joe Carnahan.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if you must have seen The Gray, but
for sure.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So Liam in this, I read that he has a thing called the tea test, cup of tea test. Like if he's reading a script and he's like a few pages in, and if he feels like he needs to get a cup of tea, it's not a super exciting script. But with your script, he just read it in one sitting. That's got to be a testament to your work.
Well, I learned about that when he was on set, because he drinks a lot of tea, and so the fact that he didn't have to stop and go get some tea, I realized that he's actually really serious about that, because he's always got his cup of tea nearby. So that was a compliment that I think he was giving me, and I feel lucky that he responded in such a way. It's really, for him, it's about character, right? And so the fact that he was responding to the character to go along with all the action and everything else was great.
And God, I have to ask this. Is it a little intimidating to work with him? I mean, when do you reach that level of comfortableness that goes beyond, holy crap, Liam Neeson is in front of me right now?
He's such an easy person once you get to know him a little bit. And I had before we started shooting, before the movie even started, I sat down with him and spent some time with him. And he's just so warm and giving and caring that it actually felt fairly easy once we started. I mean, obviously I'm recognizing it's Liam Neeson, and I need to be respectful of that. But he never made it hard on me. He was always, right there for me and asking me if I was good with whatever we were doing. But that does remind me of a quick story on the first movie I did, called A Family Man, with Jerry Butler and Willem Dafoe. And I was on set, and it was Willem's first day, and we'd been going for a while, but Willem showed up for the first day, and he did a take on the first thing that he was doing. And I literally turned to my DP and I said, "Am I allowed to give him notes?" And then really, and then he calls out, "Give me notes! I want notes!" And so, if Willem Dafoe gave me permission, I kind of felt like, okay, it's okay. So that was a good learning experience for me.
Well, I'm so glad that Liam Neeson. I had read that he, after his experience on Star Wars, kind of just wanted to almost give up acting because he just didn't like. I guess all being surrounded by the special effects and the green screens. I think that can be a bit daunting for an actor to not, be physical. And in your film is very physical. I mean, clearly there are effects in some instances, but there's a lot of physical action here. How did you stage all of that? In particular, there's a great hotel, and some of these scenes are really in close quarters, and I think that's I think even more difficult. So what went into staging all that and working with Liam on that?
I mean, obviously, I have a great team of stunt coordinator, Mark Vangelo, who's worked with Liam on a lot of movies, so he knew what Liam couldn't do, wanted to do, wouldn't want to do. And Shelley Johnson, my DP, we really had to coordinate that, because you're right. A couple of our biggest action moments are in very tight quarters. And so it was really about figuring out how to light it, how to shoot it while keeping the tension going. And so it was just choreography and really understanding that a lot of it came from the characters. Like the camera work was done based on what's the character thinking and how are they feeling. And when you have four characters that are all in basically a 4-person Mexican standoff, you have to really try to get behind each person's mentality of what they're thinking at the moment and shoot it accordingly. And it was certainly challenging, but given the right performances, the right camera, and the music, and I think it works.
When you work on those action scenes, are you the type of director that do you do shot list, do you storyboard? What is your process?
Not much of a storyboard, because obviously when you get on set, nothing looks like you'd have in the storyboard, and it's very hard to match when you're not doing big green screen type of things. So for me, it's more about shot listing and also understanding, where the camera can be and can't be, and then adapting accordingly to what the actors are doing.
And when Liam Neeson, his character in this film, he's an ex-Marine. He seems very comfortable with weapons. and I guess Liam's previous experience in films, he's worked with weapons. I know there are all sorts of protocols that go into having weaponry on set. Can you talk a little bit about that? And Liam just seems particularly good. I mean, he's always good, but he really went for it in your film, and I feel like we could use like a big action movie like this right now. So I'm curious about working with the weapons and what that was.
I mean, certainly he's used to handling a gun. He's done it once or twice before. But we definitely did have our stunt team that were professionals and had military backgrounds, so that they knew how to handle a gun, and they spent time in training just dealing with guns and how to move and how to hold them. In fact, one amazing thing about Liam is he'll shoot for the 12 hours a day, and then he'll go to the stunt room for 2 hours afterwards and really work on the stunts and how to move and whatever we're doing. So that type of commitment ripples through the entire cast. So everybody was gung ho to really get into the mindset of what it would be like to be that guy. And to Jai's credit, I mean, he really has a big part to play in dealing with the gun stuff, and he was on top of it. He was right there with the stunt guys, learning everything, and he was very efficient with it by the end of it.
You've also got a really great cast in your supporting roles. Robert Patrick being a personal favorite of mine. Can you talk about some of the other supporting actors?
Speaking of Robert, I mean, obviously Terminator 2, when he walks out of the fire, was probably one of the seminal moments of my young life of like, oh my goodness, that's what you can do in movies these days. So for me, having him on board was just a fantastic treat. Kate Walsh is just a great human being and charming and funny and just very, very likable. And so for her to bring that energy and that that lightness to it, and the heart really of the movie. I mean, that their relationship is the heart, and she is the pulse. So she was just fantastic to have on board. And then really it was the challenge of, you have 4 FBI agents and you want them to be all different, but have their own layers and their own characters. So then it was really the challenge of casting, which was a real process, that to find the right type of people that could bring different elements to the different characters that would be make them unique and not all typecast FBI guys.
Well, obviously a lot of the tentpole Hollywood movies have moved off to next year, but there are still a lot of great films coming out. Your film in particular, being released. What are we doing in terms of, or what are you involved with, other than talking to me, promoting this to get the word out that, hey, new movies are coming to theaters, drive-ins, VOD. I feel like there's so much now that I guess the big Hollywood movies tend to take, all the oxygen out of the room. And now it's like, hey, there's some really good independent films and other types of films that are coming out. Does this help your movie? What are your thoughts?
It's hard to say. I mean, obviously, nobody knows the reality, and we're sticking to our course to come out in theaters, in a week or so. And really, that's because it's got an opportunity, and an opportunity for people to go and see, to get out of the house. And if you feel comfortable, go out of the house and see it. It'll look great on a big screen. In fact, we've gotten a lot of support from Dolby and IMAX. We're coming out on a lot of IMAX screens, which most independent films would never be on IMAX. But obviously, given the state of the world, we're afforded this opportunity. So if you're comfortable going to see it in a theater, it's going to look and sound great. If it's not something that you're comfortable with, then it will come to your home sooner or later, and hopefully you can find it there. But yeah, no, I think it's it's a weird world, and we all love movies. I mean, frankly, everybody's watched everything they can at home at this point, and there's nothing new coming out, in a hurry. So this is something that is possible to see in multiple ways, depending on how comfortable you are with it.
Well, I will just say for myself, I've been going to the drive-in every week. I was just at the AMC in Fullerton, of all places, because it was drivable. Not in the Los Angeles area. Movie theaters are still shut down, but I feel like the theaters have done a great job of making people feel comfortable. This AMC now, they have these upgraded, they've got bars, different food selections. They only sell to 25% capacity. And once you pick a seat, all the seats around you are you can't purchase them. So I say get to the movie theater or the drive-in, because I happen to think that this film would be a great drive-in movie. A lot of people honking during certain scenes.
That's fun. Yeah, I mean, I never thought I would say that, honestly, it was going to open up on a drive-in theater. I mean, that's not a concept I thought of when we were making it, but it's kind of amazing. And I think, if you're going to see a movie, there's a great place to do it as a drive-in. So go for it.
Yeah, action films and horror films play really well at the drive-in. Since I've been going since, gosh, I don't think they ever really fully shut down. I mean, I guess a little bit in March, but they've been going. So I would just recommend, if you're going to see Honest Thief, see it in a theater, the drive-in. And there are 400 drive-in screens across the United States that are open. So, and they're packed on the weekdays. It's kind of crazy. So definitely gotta get yourself to the drive-in, get yourself to the theater. Mark Williams, thank you so much for talking to us on the Film Threat podcast. It's been a pleasure. And thank you to our sponsor, Storyblocks. Go to storyblocks.com/film threat. All sorts of tools for filmmakers, including tools to make an action movie if you want to make one like Mark did.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Mark. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Take care.